Hello everybody, I'm Conquering History Games, and welcome back to part 3 of my Yunnan Clique campaign here in Hearts of Iron 4, Kaiserreich. Now, usually when I put up campaigns on the channel, they have, if not in their entirety, at least mostly have been recorded before I begin to upload. I do this because there's been a lot of cases where something gets updated, and because you guys know I play lots of mods, and then the save file breaks and I can't continue the campaign, and so I just end up with a partial fragment of one, which is extremely frustrating to me, and I know disappointing for many people. But I made an exception in this case because, as I've been saying since the beginning, I do want to play the Yunnan Clique at least 2 times. I think it's really, really interesting, and so I put on my community tab following the second episode, essentially, did you want me to go down the Yunnan Clique path, which could lead to, although I think it's not necessarily exclusive, I think I can, no, I can't form the Republic of China, right, okay, but it's basically, I could create a greater Yunnan where I head west, I head south, and sort of get away from these affairs and carve out my own personal kingdom. Or I could declare myself the Republic of China and attempt to unify China. So that's what ended up getting voted for, which is fine by me. It's all good. And but incidentally, I think the Republic of China's flag, I'm not discussing my personal political affiliations or anything, but I'm saying I just absolutely love this version of the flag. Of all the Chinese flags, it's probably my favorite. I just love that blue. I'm such a sucker for rich, deep shades of blue. That's why I'm looking forward to the Qing creating a blue China. It's colors, because at the end of the day, these are just map painting simulators. It's like you're just making, I like this color, I want everything this color. It's a really abstract form of art. Anyway, why do I not have generals assigned? Oh, that's right, I don't have any at all, and I don't even have the 0. So I think we read the capture of Anshun thing yesterday. What we're going to do, because I don't know these paths yet, I know I need Longyun to lose. So what I think I'm going to do is, let's see. I think we're going to attempt to do the killing blow. And even though that might mean I defeat this faction, what I'm hoping is that because I attacked while there were so many civilians in the area that were going to be evacuated, it's going to spread throughout the region that I did that, and so people will turn on me. Because right now, me is Longyun, who, did I read his thing? Dragon of Yunnan. I feel like I read him, but I also talked to, here, you can pause it and read it in case I didn't read it. I'm pretty sure that I did. And I talk about him in my Yunnan Free Empire campaign that I did in Vanilla Hearts of Iron 4, if you want to go check that out. Anyway, so we're going to do the attack. Let's see if we get past the negative 300 mark. Negative 300, almost negative 300 political power, minus 20% stability. Not a good time being had here. Capture of Anshun. With our soldiers trying to assault the city right away, it became clear that the defenders were a lot better prepared than our forces were to hold the city. After repelling our attacks repeatedly, our officers had no choice but to retreat. It seems the evacuation forces were a lot more numerous than our offensive force was. That's unfortunate. Lost a fair bit of manpower there. Okay, that's good though, because I want my current character to lose. Let's pick up radio because I just don't know what else I will. I'm the kind of guy, if I don't get radio in the first year and a half, I'm just gonna never get it because I always just start working on other things. Get that industry up. At least we've got guns. The Battle of Biéji. After Longyun's forces reach the Saliexin Valley, the valley opens up in several paths, of which the central one leads directly towards Biéji. Longyun's scouts have informed him that the city has been fortified and is waiting for a direct frontal attack. I just noticed the Sichuan Clique thing is over, so that failed, us going north that way. It's fine. While Longyun can't abandon the main road, as it would expose his forces to being flanked, he can split up his forces and lead a diversionary attack in the entrance of Biéji, while the bulk of the forces split and attacks through the north along the Daotian River and through the south following the Bahe River. Many officers have objected to this plan, claiming that splitting the forces would make the overall army weaker, and since the valleys on the sides weren't secured, the detachments would risk facing a superior force and being decimated, while a direct frontal assault, while costly, could allow the army to punch through and ultimately scatter the bulk of the factionalist forces defending Biéji. At the end of the discussion, it's Longyun who will have the final word. So splitting the forces could, because it sounds like we don't have the other valleys scouted. It could be bad if there's another army out there waiting. We're going to concentrate, though. We're probably going to win here, but I think it'll damage me. I'm not entirely sure how this works, so I think it'll damage us. It sounds like if we do the direct frontal assault, it's definitely going to hurt more than it should. So let's just take a little bit of damage, as opposed to potentially taking a lot, but we might also win. So we're going low risk, low reward. Concentrate our forces to punch through. What's going on? A little nervous. Okay. While we tried focusing our efforts into punching through the main defender line, a lack of artillery and well-dug and devised defenses in the valley entrance made us unable to secure any footing into the town. Oh yeah, that wasn't going to happen if you didn't have artillery. You got to have that. Having suffered heavy casualties, our assault has been called off. Once again, just if we could just grammatically fix some of these things, that should be O-U-R. Assault has been called off, and we'll have to rethink our strategy if we wish to take back Biaget from the rebels for good. What a disaster! Okay. What now? I still can't take a national focus. Yes! Yes! That's who I wanted. Yes! Alright. Zhu Piede takes over. With the help of the 3rd Nationalist Army of the Kuomintang, Zhu Piede has managed to seize Kunming with a swift strike from the east. Now in control of the heart of Yunnan, Zhu Piede has begun preparing to make his move and restore order to the rest of Yunnan once and for all. We can only hope he's successful, so we're losing more stability. Social liberals become more popular. Alright. That's awesome. Okay, pause. Yes. So there should be a little bio here so I could discuss him. A scion of a distinguished Lu Feng... So like... Wait, did I even say... Yeah, the poll wanted me to go into declaring the Republic of China. Yeah, so that's... We needed him. Long Yun would make his own clique. So Zhu Piede, who kind of looks like a lot of mariachis I see around town. I think it's because the flowers here, the yellow flowers on his black jacket. So he looks like I'm from El Paso, for those of you who don't know. So he looks like a mariachi because they also have a lot of them have those thick mustaches. A scion of a distinguished Lu Feng family, Zhu Piede could trace among his ancestors proud servants to the Ming Dynasty and loyal administrators of the Qing Empire. Despite his lineage, he aligned himself to Dr. Sun Yat-sen's cause as a zealous and scholarly revolutionary. After a brief stint in Jiangxi as the province chairman and a lengthy career in the Kuomintang, Zhu Piede fled in exile after the KMT's failed northern expedition. Alongside most of the remaining 3rd NRA army, he returned back to his home province of Yunnan, beginning to build up a new career within Tang Jiyao's administration. When Tang's government fell, Zhu Piede seized the opportunity to rally the remnants of the rightist Kuomintang and denounce Long Yun's takeover. Alongside his comrades, he marched west for Kunming and led a successful takeover. Now comfortably seated in the capital of Yunnan, he has sworn to rebuild a national government honoring Sun Yat-sen's legacy. Let's actually talk about who Sun Yat-sen is for a little bit. I'm probably going to talk about him a lot in several of these, so you'll have to just watch all of my episodes to get everything. Sun Yat-sen essentially was he was the one who led the Chinese National Party. I'm talking about what he did historically, by the way, aka the Kuomintang. I first heard about him actually watching, and you can find them on YouTube. They're very interesting. The Why We Fight films that were produced in the United States during World War II. They're basically American propaganda films that were meant to be shown to the troops and then later on to the general public to explain the context of the war, of World War II. And obviously it's propaganda, but there is actually quite a lot to learn in it, because a lot of the stuff they talk about that's true is stuff that's not talked about today, because of course they were closer to the situation, so they can talk about some things that sort of got faded out from general history. So the Battle for China one is the single longest individual one, and they discuss the how China has been evolving since the Qing Dynasty went away, and they go into Sun Yat-sen. And in order to simplify things, they basically say Sun Yat-sen is the American George Washington, which I think is actually really apt. So he was the first provisional president of the Republic of China. I should probably pull up a picture of him. One second. Sun Yat-sen. Give me a second. Where is he? Okay, here we go. Let's yeah, we have a colored picture here. So this is Sun Yat-sen. Now, he was born from a family of poor farmers in South China, of course. That's why it's one of the reasons why it became such a hotbed of the Republican activity. So in Guangdong, and he converted to Christianity, or at least he was baptized as such. Maybe somebody who is an expert in him can tell me more, but from what I could tell, he wasn't a completely practicing Christian. For example, there was a point in his life where he got married a second time while he was still married to his first wife, so that's polygamy. Anyway, he was originally trained as a doctor, but he was very anti-Qing dynasty, and he was acutely aware that China was technologically behind other nations. Of course, China had been defeated quite easily, I should say, by some of the Western powers in his lifetime and earlier in Sun Yat-sen's lifetime. So, after China had suffered yet another defeat against the Japanese, Sun Yat-sen attempted to plot an uprising against the Qing dynasty that failed. And he ends up going abroad for almost 20 years. And during those 20 years, he's traveling all over the world. He's going to Japan. He's going to the United Kingdom. He's in Hawaii. And he's continuously, during this time, trying to do uprisings against, lead uprisings against the bandits of local regions of China, as well as the Qing dynasty. They have various degrees of success. One of them, for example, only lasted 12 days, which was one that he was in his home area of Guangdong. But he eventually became pretty popular amongst the more educated class of China, and I think I've already been talking about him for too long. But he had managed to raise some money in Europe, in Canada, and the United States, and he plans the. Eventually, this leads to the Revolution of 1911, which was the last one of his several that he had done since the Chinese had lost their war against Japan. So this was triggered by a lot of things, but basically the Qing tried to nationalize the railways, and in China there's a lot of local interests who didn't like this, so armed rebellion broke out against this, and it became a cascading effect of which Sun Yat-sen was a part. So Yat-sen ends up working with Yuan Shikai. He's that guy I talked about, I think, in the first or the second episode, the imperial guy who worked for the Qing. And after the emperor abdicates, Sun had actually been part of the regime by that point. Long story. He abdicates, and then eventually he's made Yuan Shikai's successor. And there, he was kind of wearing a lot of different hats, because he was also doing industrial things and basically just trying to build up the Republic of China. They're building up a military, they're building up their railway, and things like that. He's and he looked for help anywhere he could. He's so flexible, and I think that's one of the reasons why. Of course, I'm not Chinese. I'm not born and raised in China, but at least online and when people discuss him academically, he seems to be admired by basically everybody, and it's kind of strange because maybe it's because he went for help from anybody for his dream of this advanced and new China. So the nationalists love him, the communists love him. Like, he worked with the Soviets, he worked with the United States. He's a big part of the reason why the communists worked together with the nationalists. He worked with, like, the Comintern. Yeah, that's the Soviets, right? And probably his most important thing that he's known for, though, is he created the 3 principles of the people, where he championed nationalism, democracy, and socialism. Not socialism. Dang, I get into that into my not the Yunnan campaign, in my Republic of China campaign I did for Road 56. But it's not that kind of socialism. You're thinking of, like, English socialism, probably, and that's not what we're talking about. Anyway, he eventually dies of cancer in the 1920s, and he just becomes this symbol of the Republic of China, and it's like you have to at least invoke in some way his image, his life, in order to be discussing, like, if you're trying to claim that you have the mandate of being the Republic of China. But he's become more symbolic than anything because he did die so early in the struggle, although he had been a part of it for 30 years when he died. but this is before, obviously, well over 20 years before the People's Republic versus the Kuomintang War ended, and things like that. He is the pioneer. He was leading the way. So that was quite a lot about Sun Yat-sen. Sorry, I hope that didn't take too long, and I feel like I was not talking about a lot, and yet here we are. So can we take this national focus, though? No, we can't. We still have not resolved the internal disputes, apparently. Or I can't do initial stabilization. Oh, no. Does this mean he can still be abdicated? There are other generals out there. Oh, this is bad. This is real bad. Okay, the Guiji garrison debacle. Despite the capital being under our control, the National Revolutionary Army remains scattered around the Yunnan, and as our enemies mobilize around us, forming a cohesive front line may prove to be the deciding factor. With barracks of the NRA being located all round, from Guangjiang to Dali, the time has come to finally consolidate and push our enemies out. When we first marched into the capital, a significant group of our army remained in Winshan, and with our forces now secure in Kunming, we could perform a pincer movement towards Kunjing, where we've received reports from our allies in Anshun that a force is gathering to mount a counterattack on Kunming. However, there are also reports of a force assembled in the old city of Dali, but redeploying our troops to cover the western side may open us to the possibility of a true front attack, one that we may not be able to hold. Crud. That's tough. That is tough. Right now, I'm kind of... Maybe this is a sign. I just thought of that quote. I think it was when Napoleon came back into power in 1815. He appointed, who was probably one of his greatest field marshals, Louis Nicolas Devout, in charge of protecting Paris for him while he went to go fight the Prussian and English armies and such in what eventually would be Waterloo. And Devout was, I think, from what I've read, Devout argued this with him because he said he didn't need to be defending Paris. The important thing was to be destroying the armies that were making an attempt on Paris, because he says if you lose, and I want to be by your side to help you win. It's like basically, it's like if you lose, nobody can hold Paris. And so I kind of feel like it's more important to destroy their armies rather than attempt to continue to hold the capital, because we could just, if we destroy armies, we can keep taking the capital back, I think. But when you get right down to it, these are coin flips. We're going to worry about the West later. Yeah, we have to finish off. Yeah, we have to defeat the forces in Kuijing. Perform the pincer movement. Alright, yeah, we took it, right? We just pushed it back a bit here. Alright. Alright, I feel like I'm at a roulette table. It's like I just try to keep betting. Is it red or is it black? Is it red or is it black? The Gunxing pincer, having chosen to flank the enemy in Gunji, we were able to make short work of our enemies in the east. Now we can look back at the west to secure our position in Kunming. Onwards, yes, 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 yes. It's like one of those things because there's a casino nearby where I live, and sometimes, like, when money's tight, me and some friends will make jokes about, it's like, hey guys, we'll just take some money and throw it on black at the roulette table. We just have to win a few times and it'll just double, and we'll be millionaires. That's all we have to do, is just win a series of coin flips, right? That are actually technically less than 50% odds. Also, for my European viewers, roulette actually is even worse here in the United States because instead of just a 0, there's a 0 and a double 0 that are the green, so the odds are even longer. Okay, the Chujiang gamble. Our scouts have reported that a large enemy force has moved from Dali to Chujiang, and they are poised to attack Kunming at any given moment. In order to tackle them, a traditionally static defense is already being set up, with machine guns and artillery pieces being brought from the city to the border of the Tonglang River. However, a few cavalry officers from the NRA have suggested we take the initiative away from the enemy. Instead of digging in, they propose we send one detachment northward towards the village of Yuanwo and another southwards following the Huanin River, and then we have both move towards Zhejiang. As they put it, they'll be able to encircle the enemy before this one can pierce through our lines. But the plan is risky. They want to take away too much of our force, and such a maneuver will take days, perhaps even more than a week, and we don't know if we have so much time. Oh, that's tricky, that's tricky. Hold on a sec, my nose is running, so there's just going to be a cut here. I just got to blow it. Okay, I'm back, and I actually just brought the tissue box over here. So we're doing the choose young gamble. The pincer movement did work last time, but But last time it was that we had two separate armies that were already in a position to maneuver. This is we're taking an existing army that we have, and then we're pivoting it. We're splitting it up. We're sending that. Like, if we're talking about something that's a maneuver that's gonna take days, that's really risky. And yeah, I know that worked out for Robert E. Lee at Chancellorsville, but I think if we dig in, the worst case scenario is a stalemate. So we're gonna do that. Nice! Nice, we took it, we took Dali. Dali! Yeah! That's right, Pitbull shows up, his ancestor, and starts singing. Alright, so it looks like we have one more coin flip here to do. Because we got this area up here, the Quanzhong. Having chosen to maintain the strength of the Tangalang River perimeter, we have managed to repel the enemy attacking force, and our cavalry officers have seized the initiative and pursued the enemy back to Dali. With the fall of Dali, it seems that the West is now solidly within our grasp. Great work. Awesome, so it's just a one-front war. Cool, cool. Creation of the International Avant-Garde. This is the art program. Truly curious. Syndicalism. Now that's too far beyond the pale. Even the left Kuomintang never will go left of radical socialist. That is so. I don't think it does. So that's way beyond the pale. Jui PD secures Yunnan. Yes! With the last of the rebel forces being driven out of the provinces and the rest surrendering unconditionally, Zhu Piede has managed to achieve total victory, and his forces march back towards Kunming to celebrate the consolidation of what now seems to be the main right Kuomintang's base of operations. Hurrah! So I got a field marshal now. We're in the Yunnan Clique. Gets event, secures power in Yunnan and stability. Very nice. Oh, we just bypass it. Excellent. Zhu Piede secures power in Yunnan. News has arrived from the Chinese province of Yunnan that the interim governor Long Yun has been successfully deposed by the National Revolutionary Army after a series of revolts that sprung up throughout the mountainous region. Led by General Zhu, the National Revolutionary Army now marches peacefully in the Yunnanese capital, Kunming, as the flamboyant new governor has proclaimed that he not only intends on following the ideals preached by Sun Yat-sen, but to also revive the ideals that the defunct Chiang Kai-shek espoused before being assassinated. With such an ambitious declaration, many wonder whether the seemingly isolated faraway corner of China will truly be able to revert the crushing defeat of the Kuomintang during the Northern Expedition and bring back a united China under the ideals of nationalism, democracy, and welfare. Yeah, that's what I was going to get into earlier when I was talking about socialism. They're talking about welfare. They're not talking about full-blown... Well, I guess that is socialism. Whatever. Wasn't the defeat a decade ago enough to dissuade them? Oh, okay, there we go. So, alright, now, okay, we've got a bunch. We got the army back. This is awesome. Plenty of generals back as well. I think we might go with Liu Binghu here. He's already ambusher and an infantry leader. Do we have any, yeah, obviously, we have our field marshal. He's a brilliant strategist. He's a skilled staffer. Yeah, that's great. So because he's a skilled staffer, we can make him an expert delegator when the army gets really big, but we're not going to do that anytime soon, because we hardly have enough to even fill up one. I think... I do like that winter attrition. Oh no, here's our infantry officer. He's reckless, though. Very annoying. And leader experience gain is down, so these sort of... They don't cancel each other out, but it is annoying. Lots of good generals to choose from, though. We will go with Feng Shishung here as our main guy. Born in 1891, as opposed to most members of the Yunnan Clique, Fan Shisheng did not initially come from a military background. He studied medicine and worked as a teacher until his friend Li Hongjiang introduced him to General Kai Yi. Already enamored with the revolutionary movement, Fan abandoned his academic career and joined Kai's army. The constant struggles and repeated failures of the Kuomintang to consolidate their hold over China eventually led Fan to retire from the military. Taking up work as a doctor in Kunming, he was content to remain as an An apolitical civilian until he caught Tang Jiayao's attention. Already familiar with each other from their time in the revolution, Tang managed to convince his old comrade to return to the army. Fan has now traded in his robes and rickshaw for a uniform and rifle, attaching himself to the recovering Republican movement. So as a former doctor, I can't think of anybody more important to help us fulfill Sun Yat-sen's legacy. We're going to go with this blue, this nice shade of blue, although I do like the red here as well. We're gonna... Okay, I guess we should just, for now, put ourselves up here. Now, I think we still have the strongest army in the region, not counting the Yunnan Clique. Let's take a look at these Chinese factions. So, the Left Kuomintang is, of course, the Left Kuomintang leader at the moment. The Yunnan Clique is the Federalist leader. It's considered to be. And we are the Right Kuomintang leader. Okay, we could do Legacy of the Expedition, but I just want to get on this path right away because it's going to give us political power gain. The NRA has prevailed. Social liberalism will become more popular because that's what we are now. Which is, that's not a, it's not really a political ideology you see too often. Oh yeah, they have their own custom thing here. So, whilst the NRA distinguished itself in battle and its generals became renowned throughout China for their strategies, it simply couldn't endure the grueling half of the Northern Expedition followed by... the grueling halt of the Northern Expedition followed by the German intervention. Now reduced to a shell of its former self, exiled to Yunnan, and adopting a older and less proactive name, the National Foundation Army, the NRA remnant, remains cautious of both Tang Jiao's stern autocratic government as well as the new socialist direction that the KMT has embraced. The repeated conflict between Tang's beliefs versus the NFA's own progressive republicanism have prevented the NFA from ever being properly integrated into Yunnan's military, leaving them dangerously autonomous, loyal only in name to the man who once granted them refuge. Okay, now we could actually also trade for some steel because we've got more factories available again. Terrific. Huey Long's president in the U.S. I'm sure this is going to end peacefully. Alright. Now, we've got guns. Not many, though. Oh, jeez. Can we... I think what we need, though, is to make sure that our armies are at least kind of trained up. And I am also slightly nervous about being attacked from these other directions. The Yunnan Clique down here is looks like they're still dealing with their own civil war. So is the Ma Clique. The left KMT has been holding pretty steadily against the Anqing Clique. I really thought that it was going to be a pushover. Evidently not. Okay, we could go way ahead of time on something else here. Yeah, let's just get that construction up. Okay, so the good news is we're also able to now begin recovering. We're getting 0.71 political power a day off of even while we're researching a focus. So not bad, not bad. Oh, and we have some things that we could do here. I'm thinking scavenger is going to be the way to go. I think if I can, I'm gonna try to implement what are they called? Maintenance divisions in the maintenance support companies in all my armies for that equipment capture, which I think will be extremely crucial, as well as helping with all this horrible terrain we're gonna have to fight our way through as the Republic rolls on. And also by training a little bit, we're getting some army experience. Oh yeah, we have a guy here who gives us continuous army experience gain. He Ying Qing, as well as increasing our recovery rate. So between that and the radio, it's increased by it's a plus 5% from radio, and then he gives us another plus 10. Very nice. Unfortunately, our war support is very down, so we're not gaining a whole lot of command power at the moment. I can pick 2 traits, though. Alright, the NRA has prevailed. Look at that, our stability is almost at 0. Okay, we got some Bamboo King stuff here. I don't... Democratic Fortress is good. Could encourage on migration. This basically has to do with how I'm going to deal with ethnic things internally. I think that could wait, even though Democratic Fortress is pretty sweet. I want to create this faction here. So we're going to do the right KMT. If I want to do the left KMT, I'd play the left KMT, which I will do at some point. So let us revive the Republican ideals. And also, plus, if we can get our party popularity up more, we can get into a new bracket of political power gain. Complacency in the province has become widespread, as many people don't care anymore whether there is a central government or a united China at all. This can't be allowed to stand. China has to be saved, and we should instill patriotism again in our population. The Italian government falls. Sweden joined the Reichspakt. So we'll be seeing some conflict right here between the Norwegian-Swedish border. That's fun. Oh, of course, focusing mostly over here. Wow, the left KMT just holds on. They refuse to quit. They don't have the factories. They don't have the recruitable population, but they're hanging in there. Oh, they're going to reconcile with me. We're about to get something. What's this? What's this? What's this? Very curious. The People's Government has been formed over here, so they are Social Democrats, which I think if we had gone a different path means that we could have united with them. I think that's other Tiang. Might be thinking of something else. I want to get down to that faction and get the Sichuan involved with us. Yeah. We can claim the leadership. I want to claim the leadership mantle as much as I also want to get that research going. All right, we have the engineers, which is good. Yeah, let's get these maintenance companies. I think they could be a key difference in this fight. Oh, and the lack of political power. Yep, that's it. We got to a new bracket. Very nice. Stability's up. A lot of good things are going on. Alright, they're done training. Anybody else? Just doing this to get that army experience up. Okay, in terms of land doctrine, we're going to be going on the offensive. Do we want to do... What kind of bonuses can we get whenever we start going down the army path? Centralize command, prioritize manpower. I'm not sure... I actually see things, though, that specifically go help us with... They're going to specifically help us with a particular land doctrine. Yeah, see, like that's just generic one land doctrine. Land doctrine. And land doctrine. Okay, so we're flexible. I like that. And then we get a bunch down here. And what do I want to do? Not sure. I need to decide, though, sooner rather than later. We have hit 1937. I do have those engineers. Oh, but they're not actually in here right now. Okay, so let's take a look at how bad does this get. It's going to take us 145 days to get... 143 days to get all the support equipment I would need for my armies. And these, I don't think I'm allowed to... Oh, I am allowed to change their template. Oh, yeah, we're going to definitely do that then. Well, I want everybody to be that template. Okay, fantastic. So now how long is it going to take? 782 days. Of course, my economy is going to improve over time, but that's just telling me that maybe the entrenchment isn't all it's cracked up to be. So I think superior firepower might be the way to go. We're going to have different support companies. But there's not going to be too many offensive ones, because I want... but actually, it could be useful. Yeah, throw some support artillery. So we'll have engineers, reconnaissance, support artillery, engineering. Might do field hospitals, which doesn't help with this, but I could... If I did rocket artillery... Then we might be talking. And I do have tungsten and steel. Maybe. Yeah, we're gonna do the superior. We're supposed to be the baddest army in the land. We're gonna throw shells, not men. Plus, that just immediate soft attack bonus should help quite a bit. Okay, that army experience up. You all need to switch over as well. Okay, we've revived the Republican ideals, and I'm not seeing anything from the left KMT yet. So I don't know what's up with the so-called reconciliation. Maybe, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. So this will continue to just increase our power. The KMT, or more specifically the National Revolutionary Army branch of the KMT, has hardly undergone any reforms since the Generalissimo was assassinated. We should look into restructuring our party and begin passing reforms that may help our province ease itself into our organization. I just realized how long this episode has gone, so we'll just we're gonna stop it there for today. Let's make sure we're having the best artillery we can. And then I'm gonna, well, should I just do it now? Yeah, no, yeah, it's already in there. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me. I'm Conquering History Games, and we are on the path to unification. It may be a long one, but sure won't be a boring one. I'll see you then. Have a great day. Goodbye.